What is good, YouTube, and welcome back to a brand new video. We're wrapping up this new look rebuild series before 2K26, and one of the teams that I've been avoiding for a long time is the Brooklyn Nets, obviously because of the restricted free agency situation with Cam Thomas, and they have like 20 players under contract right now as well at the moment. But as you guys know, the theme lately is I just don't want to wait any longer, so here we are again, not waiting any longer for another team. So let's go ahead, jump in, talk about the Cam Thomas situation, and do a new look Brooklyn Nets rebuild in NBA 2K25. Before we get into today's video, make sure you drop a like on this one and subscribe if you're new to this channel. As always, greatly appreciated. We're currently on the road to 50,000 subs, so if you are new around here, would like to help us reach that goal, that'd be absolutely amazing by hitting that subscribe button. But as I mentioned, the Brooklyn Nets are, obviously a rebuilding roster at this current moment. This is not a team that you stare at and say, hey, this team is going to go make some noise in the East. This is definitely 1000% a rebuilding team, and that's where they've been. They were in a hole when they made the big trade for KG and all that, and they dug themselves out, got to the Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving era, and now they're back on a rebuild stage here once again. And just like, what they did back then, they do have a plethora of draft picks at their disposal. So there's a lot we could do, a lot of different ways we could take this video, to be honest with you. So I guess we're just going to have to see how year number one goes. We should be tanking. We should be bad. And we might even sell like Claxton off at the trade deadline as well if needed. So this should make for an interesting video. As I said, they have like 20 players under contract at the moment, so we have to cut like 5 guys, which is kind of going to be interesting to figure out. They also added 5 rookies in the first round instead of like trading them at all. Yeah, this is gonna just be an interesting Nets video, so let's just go ahead without further ado, get straight into it. So let's start at, and then of course Cam Thomas, it's looking like he's gonna play on his qualifying offer because he's asking for like, I guess 30 million a year, which is what seems like all the restricted free agents are asking for, and just none of that's even happened. Nothing's getting close to that for any of those guys so far. So let's go ahead and get into year number one, and we have to figure out how many players I do actually have to cut. So it's actually only okay, so it's actually only 2. I thought it was more than that, to be honest with you. So let's go ahead and see what 2 players make the most sense. So I'm going to assume that I'm not going to cut any of their first round picks, obviously. So there's Drew Timme, which is an option because he has a $1.9 million contract right now. But he is kind of a fun player, obviously. Barry just got added. Tariq Whitehead, maybe they would cut bait with. There's Tyrese Martin as well. Like I said, it's kind of interesting. Could I tell you exactly who they're going to release to? No, or they may even make a trade, who knows, but I couldn't tell you what they're going to do. So I might just well, actually I'm not gonna let 2K decide because they would probably just cut a first round pick like Danny Wolf or something. So I'm gonna cut a couple guys. It's probably gonna be Drew Timme and Tyrese Martin, unfortunately, because those are gonna be the guys with only 1 year left on their contract. And unfortunately 2K is gonna automatically stretch and waive these guys, which is kind of annoying. I really hope in 2K26, even though I don't think it'll be a feature, it would be a small addition that I'd like, as if like they gave you an option to just have it for 1 season or waive and stretch it, but I doubt we'll see that. So let's go ahead, jump in the rotation for year number 1. So the beautiful part about this is Power Rank does have us 30th overall, but I have low-key seen the Nets be successful in the 2K sim before, so it wouldn't totally shock me if we were good for whatever reason. I hope not, though. So I think at the trade deadline, we're probably going to sell off Nicholas Claxton. I just don't think we're going to be good until for a while. So I don't think it makes sense to keep him at 26 years old. I think it makes sense to get even more first-round draft capital for him. Obviously, something I forgot to mention as well is they traded Cam Johnson for Michael Porter Jr., but they did receive a 2032 unprotected Nuggets pick. That should be an interesting pick, but that is so far down the line, it's not even funny. Thinking about it, like, if you could actually think about it, think about how old you will be when you're in 2032. It's kind of crazy. So, as far as, like, all the first-round picks, none of them are getting minutes other than Yegor Dimon, which I feel kind of bad about. But that's what the trade deadline is going to be for. So we're going to try to free up some minutes for, like, Drake Powell, Nolan Traore. Like, that's why we might even run 12 deep, because why not, right? Let's just, like, get these guys minutes as soon as possible. So, and then I guess one thing we could also do is we could throw, like, I guess Drake Powell in there over, Jalen Wilson right now, and then Keon Johnson. I'm probably just going to go ahead and we could give Ben Seraph minutes right away. So yeah, just gonna be kind of a weird roster to kind of balance, but at this point, nothing is set in stone. I'm gonna see you guys at the trade deadline. A lot of movement to be made. Claxton will 100% be traded at the deadline, and maybe even we trade Cam Thomas, although he will have a no trade clause because of qualifying offer. So we'll have to see what it's looking like, but I really hope we're the worst team possible because we need a good pick this offseason. So I just tried to make a trade with the Los Angeles Lakers, and now I'm going to shift to the Grizzlies, who have an unprotected Memphis pick. I don't know if they'll actually send this to me because of how valuable that pick is, but they want Danny Wolf, and I have to send them a first. I can't do that. I would like to see what Danny Wolf becomes in this video, but again, I am trying to seek a first-round pick for Claxton's value, so let's see if they would do... Oh, wow, they agreed. So we get a 2028 unprotected. Would I have liked more than one first? Absolutely. I just tried to make a trade with the Lakers, and that didn't really work out, so we get a 2028 unprotected for Nicholas Claxton. So I feel decent about that. Would have loved to have gotten 2 firsts for him, and I think that's going to be his market in real life if he were to ever be traded, but unfortunately we settle with 1. But we get KCP's contract for a year and another year after that. But still, Claxton is traded. Should make us worse in theory, which is what I wanted. So, and then again, I'm going to give Cam Thomas like 19 minutes a night. I think we're going to be divorcing Cam Thomas this offseason because he is just making us too good, and I don't like it. So we are going to try to put Drake Powell in, and yeah, we can put him in over KCP. So Drake Powell is going to play. But yeah, right now Cam Thomas is making us a little too good, which is why I've like diminished his minutes quite a bit. 18 and 33 right now. We're the 12th seed, so I'd like that to keep climbing down. I want a good draft pick, and hopefully we succeed in doing that. So Shea's going to win MVP. Cooper Flag's your Rookie of the Year. Scoots your 6th man. And unfortunately, this just was not the ideal tanking season I would have wanted. We were a little bit better than I liked. All Rookie first team goes to Demon, though. And we'd also get Ben Seraph making it, too. So that's nice. 2 of the 5 at least get on there. But here are your player stats. So you had 16 or 19 from Cam Thomas, 16 from MPJ, and 13 from Dameron Sharp, 12 from Keon Johnson. So let's go ahead, some of these playoffs, and let's see who goes on to win it all. And then, of course, we'll get in the offseason and really start to make our mark on this team. So the Hawks and the Suns go on to win it all. Devin Booker stays loyal and gets rewarded for it by winning a championship for the Suns with Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal gone now. Very interesting. Okay, so let's go to the lottery. And again, we were a little bit better than I would have wanted us to be as we finished up as the 12th seed at 30 and 52. So we're probably not going to be rewarded with a high draft pick. It would be cool if we somehow did, but more than likely, this is not going to swing in our favor. I'm also pretty sure that we don't have our pick next year. Now, despite only 12 seed, we do get the 6th best odds, so I guess it could be worse. So let's just hope nobody behind us jumps up, and maybe we get lucky enough to jump, and it will be number 8. So we drop down. Nuggets get number 1. So we drop down to pick number 8, which does suck for sure. If we go to staff signing, Joe Fernandez, we're going to go ahead and keep for now, and let's head to draft night. So on draft night, I mean, we literally only have the 8th pick, and as I mentioned, I'm pretty sure we don't have our pick next year. I think the Rockets have the right to swap. So tanking doesn't make a whole lot of sense next season, I will say. So this could be an aggressive offseason. So the first thing I've kind of thought of is how we have Michael Porter Jr.'s expiring contract. We could, you know, maybe decide to make some kind of trade using his contract and make something happen there. But I do want to draft with pick 8 to start things off. So AJ DeBanza is going to Denver, which is very interesting. Number 2 is going to be Cameron Boozer to Charlotte. Number 3 is going to be Darren Peterson to Portland. Number 4 is going to be Dash Daniels. Utah takes Chris. Would have loved to have taken him, but unfortunately not going to get lucky. If Nate would have fell to us, I'd have been so happy too. And then Memphis takes Elijah Arenas. Okay, so we have Caleb Wilson, which he could be our new starting 5. We have Darius. I think I am going to go ahead and take Caleb Wilson here and play him as a new Claxton role. Could take Jaden as well, but I'm going to take Caleb Wilson here. I've had him play center for me before, and I think we're going to go ahead and do it again. I wanted to walk away with a Claxton replacement. I think we've done that. So that will be our draft. And now it's time to see what kind of moves we can make as far as like maybe trading some guys. So, whoops, can't do that. Okay, player options, Zaire Williams, KCP. So we also have KCP's expiring, so that could be interesting to combine with MPJ if we find something there. Dylan Wilson probably won't worry too much about, but we'll see. And then we have Keon Johnson, Caleb Wilson, and Cam Thomas. As I mentioned, we're not going to be paying Cam Thomas. I'm going to let him walk. I mean, then that seemed very non-committal to him anyway. So I have a feeling he's not going to be in net for long, you know, after this season. I think there is a possibility he gets moved. So we now have Caleb Wilson as a new starting center, probably with Sharp backing him up. Then we have Clowney. So I think my first objective here is to kind of start the trend towards trying to bring in a superstar, basically. So we're not going to be reunited with Kevin Durant or anything, but MPJ and Michael Porter. Although what I could say is we could wait and actually decide to, you know, sign free agents in the next offseason, but still, I think it's in our best interest to try to get good now because of us not having our pick next year. So I think my objective goal here is to acquire our first superstar of the video using all this expiring salary we have, all these draft picks, with us not having our draft pick next year. I think it only makes sense to go ahead and decide to try to maybe make a move towards winning now, but do it in the correct way. So here's the move I have in mind. We're going to be talking to the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm going to trade for someone I don't ever trade for in videos at all, but they just went 23 and 59. So you'd have to assume that anything would be on the table when it comes to Philly, including blowing it up based off what they just were able to do. Still a video I need to do about them as well, by the way. But basically, my priority here is to see if we can get Tyrese Maxey on this Brooklyn team and start to establish something here. So Maxey also on a decent contract compared to some others, you know, going across the league. So Maxey would be my main priority here. Again, the 76ers trading Maxey, probably unlikely, but again, I feel like if they had a season like this, maybe anything's on the table. So if we came to them with a good offer, would they be able to do this with us? We'll trade Michael Porter Jr.'s expiring contract. We'll trade this Knicks pick that probably is going to be very valuable. This swap as well. So MPJ, 2 firsts to start the bid. We have a couple young players like Dariq Whitehead, and then we can throw maybe even one of our other young players like Danny Wolf could be thrown in here, because I don't know if Danny Wolf is going to crack the rotation anymore. Well, actually, I'll wait on that. Like Ben Seraph, Drake Powell, or Traore. Maybe it's Traore because we're getting a new point guard in the building and we still have Demon. So maybe we throw Traore in here instead. So Michael Porter Jr., 2 first-round picks, Dariq Whitehead and Traore for Maxey. This is my offer, and they do agree. So Maxey's going to be our first edition of this Brooklyn Nets video. So that's why we're also going to be moving on from Cam Thomas. And technically, Yegor Demon could play next to Maxey in the backcourt because of how tall he is. But we'll see if we decide to go with that direction. But I like that first move for us. We still have Zaire Williams and Terrence Mann. I would like to get away from Terrence Mann as well, because I still want to prioritize cap space next year. So KCP is going to be gone. Maxey's going to be the only one obviously making money on this team, and everyone else is going to be off the book. So we should still have cap space next year. That is why if we can get off Terrence Mann's contract and really open this up, we could, you know, build ourselves a really interesting team next season. So if we can get off Terrence Mann's contract and get something in return for him, I think we'll be in business going into next season. So I don't think Maxey's going to change our fortune if we're going to go win a championship next year or be a playoff team, but he's definitely going to give us a sense of direction, in my opinion. So, like, the Mavericks want to give me Prosper, who's a young prospect that hasn't really been able to crack the rotation, and Caleb Martin, who's an expiring but player option. I don't hate that. Maybe we could go on that. Grayson Allen is a team option, but we have to trade Danny Wolf. So, kind of want to see what Danny Wolf can become. And then there's Shake Milton and Buddy Hield from the Warriors, which this is actually an interesting trade that I do like. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do this trade with the Warriors. So we're just going to get off Mann's contract. Bunch of expiring contracts coming in. Nothing too crazy there. So the only move we've made is obviously bringing in basically Tyrese Maxey. We're going to let the rest of these guys simply walk. So Maxey's the main addition, and we're going to go into 2027 with all this cap space and hope we can bring in a second star to pair alongside Maxey, whether it's Giannis, which will probably be the main priority if I'm being honest, because he'll be a free agent, or he should be. We have Demon up to an 81. A couple of guys developing, which is good to see. Danny Wolf up to a 74. Was definitely curious to see what he would become. But, man, am I excited going into the offseason of 2027. So, we'll see what this turns into. We've added not only Tyrese Maxey, but also added the 8th overall pick. So, this should be a very interesting team, at least next season, although we'll probably still be bad, obviously. So here is your starting 5 currently right now. It's going to be Maxey, KCP, Zaire Williams, Noah Clowney, Day'Ron Sharpe, Yegor Demon, Shake Milton, Caleb Wilson, Ben Seraph, and Drake Powell. So Danny Wolf also going to get some minutes here. So we're still going to be running 12 deep, although we could run 10-man deep, but I think we'll go, actually, let's run 11 deep. 11 deep, Maxey will get 31 minutes a night, and then we'll give Danny Wolf, I guess, you know, the minutes here over Haywood Highsmith, obviously. So we'll see what that becomes, but this is going to be an interesting season. This team obviously should still be bad, as we're all aware, but Sharpe and Caleb Wilson is going to be your center rotation. Maxey should score like 30 points per game, if I'm not mistaken. So his shot intensity is only an 85. We'll give it a 90 this year, and we'll see what that turns into. So power rank 30th overall. Unfortunately, we will not have a high draft pick this offseason. Like, our pick is going to be going to the Rockets no matter what. But maybe Maxey is able to push us into the play-in contention, and then it won't matter at all. But I'll see you guys at the end of year 2. I'm optimistic about what we could do this offseason, because I think we have the definitely think we have the ability to bring in potentially Giannis Antetokounmpo. So unfortunately, our draft pick will end up being good to the Houston Rockets. So that does suck for the most part. But here is your All-NBA first team, All-NBA second, and All-NBA third team, All Offensive first team, and All Defensive second team. So we end up as a bad seed in the East. And then Houston, on the other hand, I will say they're the 10th seed. So we did trade that pick away, which is going to be going to the 76ers, obviously. But, you know, one thing I could have negotiated in that trade is their pick back, because I believe we have their pick, which is kind of funny. But 26 for Maxey, 14, 11 from Sharp, 13 from Zaire Williams. It's very clear and obvious that we need to find a co-star to Maxey. So that is the game plan this offseason with free agency cap space. So let's see who decides to join Maxey this offseason. Again, my main priority has hopefully been Giannis. If he's there, we're going for him. And then the Thunder beat the Cavs in 6 games. So here are your retirements. You got KCP, Drew Holiday, Damian Lillard, all retiring. So let's go to the lottery and let's see what pick we gave up. So we actually have, well, Philadelphia's pick, but I believe that was top 10 protected. And then the Rockets have a top 3 best odds. So, man, that's heartbreaking. So the Rockets have our pick at number 1 overall, which is just crazy. And then, of course, like I said, the 76ers get to keep their pick, and I'll have to check on their protections next year. But, man, number 1 overall. I mean, this is a weaker draft class, technically, so I guess that's good. At least we're not, like, too upset with that. I mean, yeah, you're upset, but it could be worse. Like, you could have missed out on AJ DeBanza, right? So, or Kim Boozer, whatever your taste is. So, let's go ahead and get straight into free agency. It's just a second-round pick that I probably won't sign. I'll two-way them. And then player options. We have Danny Wolf, which I'll accept, but I'll decline Buddy Hield and catchings, and then we'll accept all these. Okay. Qualifying offer, Daron Sharp. I definitely have interest in bringing him back as well, but Zaire Williams, no interest. Okay, so Giannis is indeed here. He does have an offer from the Clippers. We also have, like, Cat and Wemby, but Wemby is going to, just sign back. So I am going to go ahead and throw an offer at Giannis Antetokounmpo. He was my main goal, so let's see if he does decide to change his mind, and we are going to be his number 1 offer. So that will be beautiful, and then we can go ahead and re-sign Daron Sharp as well. So $13 million a year. We can get him for even cheaper than that, like 12.5. I'd feel good about that. So Giannis and Daron Sharp can be the first 2 moves of the offseason. So boom, we found our co-star to Tyrese Maxey. Okay, so now how do we shape up the rest of the roster? So Maxey and Demon, which again, Demon maybe moved to the 2. That's definitely still a possibility. We have Ben Seraph, who's slowly developing. But again, the shooting is something I'm looking at for both these guys. And then how did, I guess I should look at how Demon shot last year. So 30%. I mean, it's gone up every year by a little bit. So maybe in year 3, he's ready to shoot 35, 36. We'll see. Ben, Drake Powell, Giannis, and then Daron Sharp, Caleb Wilson, and Danny Wolf. So if Danny Wolf develops enough, there is a shot that I'd move Caleb Wilson back to the power forward to back up Giannis. So is there, I mean, there is still money to be spent here, but we probably used a lot of our money. So I think the main thing I'd like to grab is a good small forward who could shoot, which we did have that, MPJ technically, but we obviously don't have that luxury anymore. Let's see. Is there a small forward out there that can shoot the hell out of the ball? So we have Kobe Brea, which is kind of interesting, but he's 6'6". Caleb Houston, I guess, is here too, 40%. Jake LaRavia. There's Jalen Clark. Cedric Coward. Why is Cedric Coward here? The Grizzlies just waive him and just give up on him. I don't get that, but he is sitting here. I mean, he would be awesome for this video. Cedric Coward, I mean, yeah, why not? I guess. I don't know. And I feel kind of like devious by doing that, but he's just here. It's so dumb. I don't get it. Do I feel cheap by doing this? Yeah, I do. I'm not going to do it, actually. So let's just go to day 12 and let's see. So Cedric Coward would be an easy cheat code, but it's also taking advantage of 2K's flawed system of waiving a first-round pick, which makes no sense. But that's 2K for you. They also traded up to get him, so that's even worse. But okay. Back to the small forward option. So we're probably not going to get like anything like that. Kuzma, no. Caleb Houston was definitely sticking out to me kind of as the guy because he does have a good 3-point shot. We can maybe turn him into something. He does want a little bit too much money. I don't think he'd actually accept that, so maybe we can't get him. So let's keep going down the list. Neesmith, though. Ooh, I like that idea. Neesmith, if he wants to sign a 3-year deal to be our new starting small forward, I'd love Neesmith. Neesmith would fit extremely well. So one thing that sucks about Neesmith in 2K, he doesn't jump up over an 80. He stays at like an 80 overall no matter what, which is kind of disappointing, but he's still a good fit nonetheless. So now we have Giannis and Maxey as a duo, and you still have this young team developing around them. So I do think there needs to be more moves in order, but I don't hate it. Danny Wolf still not developing into anything crazy. So Caleb Wilson, I guess, will start next to Giannis. And this is what it's going to look like going to the next season, other than obviously we'll move Demon probably to starting shooting guard. So let's go look at the rotation going into year number 3. And let's see if this team can make the playoffs with Giannis and Maxey leading the way. So here's how we match up against the East next year, as we have Maxey, Demon, Aaron Neesmith, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Daron Sharp, Caleb Wilson, Ben, Drake Powell, and Danny Wolf as your rotation. So this should be an interesting season. I can't wait to see if we are a playoff team in the East. You would think with Giannis and Maxey, we definitely probably are. So we'll see what it turns into. Those two should be able to lead us to the playoffs. My rank has us 8th overall. So I will hopefully see you guys in the playoff bracket in the Eastern Conference. And who knows, maybe we're already on a path to winning a championship this quickly, but we'll see. And we still have a bunch of future draft capital at our disposal as well. So a lot of things on the table as the team currently sits at a really good spot as we're 15-5 right now. So let's keep this up. So Cooper Flagg's going to win MVP for the Mavericks. Stokes is a Rookie of the Year in Houston. Jalen Green's your 6th man. Wemby's your depoy. And Arena's your most improved. And Devin Booker's your clutch player. And Kidd is your coach of the year as they went 70-12. Hobson is your executive. So yeah, the Brooklyn Nets, of course. Giannis makes all be a second team, 22, 9, and 5. And then Maxey does end up making it as well on NBA third team, 29 points per game from him on great efficiency. So love that. As we end up as the 3rd seed in the East, and we get to play Philadelphia, Maxey's former team. So here were your player stats. You had 29 from Maxey, 22 and 9 from Giannis. I did stop at the trade deadline debating on making a trade, but we really didn't have enough matching salary to do anything because just our team's kind of cheap right now. So I decided against it, and we're just going to roll with what we have right now. But depending on how these playoffs go, obviously another move could be in order. So we're already running a 9-man rotation, so let's see if we match up against Philly. So they are going to assume still have Embiid and then McCain now. And then Traore's up to an 85. So yeah, maybe we traded the wrong one. Traore ended up being the best one, but it also could be because he had a bigger role in Philly. So they have a decent team. Tariq White only 80 overall. So I don't know. Game 1 is going to go to Philly. Game 2 is going to go to us. Game 3 is going to go to us as well. Game 4 goes to us, and we'll beat them in 5. So far, so good. And now we get to play the 7th-seeded Cavaliers. So we get to hold home court advantage in round 2, not year 2, round 2. They have DeAndre Ayton as well. So that's interesting. So game 1 is going to go to us. 130-117, 32-12 from Giannis, 22-4-6 from Maxey, 18-12 from Demon. So game 2, 2-0. So far, so good. Do we keep this momentum up? Yeah, 3-0 on the Cavs, and we'll beat them in 4. So Giannis and Maxey have teamed together, and they've already dominated the East. But now we have to play Indiana. So maybe we're not quite there yet, but we're getting close to that point. So let's see if we have what it takes to take down the Pacers. So we lose game 1, we lose game 2, and we lose game 3. So we're not quite there yet, but we did make it to the conference finals. San Antonio and Indiana, and it's going to be the Pacers who go on to win it all. So we did lose to the team that went on to win it all, which sucks. But I do think what we have at our disposal is the ability to make a trade this offseason, which, wow, we also get the number 1 pick from that Grizzlies trade that we made with Claxton. So that's even better as well. So we get number 1. We get, let's see, number 22. So we'll definitely draft number 1. I believe this is the, I don't think I ever say his name correctly. So again, I always apologize if I'm saying it wrong. But I think this is the Baba draft class. That's probably not how you say it, right? Like, someone needs to teach me how to say it. I don't think anyone has taught me. Although I could just look it up myself and stop being lazy. But I don't know. So I'm going to give the 3 best coaches offers. And we could get any of them. So Lou, Redick, or Nick Nurse. I'm going to go ahead and go for Tyronn Lue, though. Although Nick Nurse is technically better. So let's go Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse could be our new coach in Brooklyn. Let's head to draft night. And let me double check if that information is correct. So I'm pretty sure that's who we have now. This is also the Paul draft class. So it's Oladuton. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Deadly accurate jump shooter, wide open looks for 3 are money. So that's probably what we need on this team right now. So yeah, it's probably where we're going to go number 1 overall. So we're going to go ahead and take, Paul does seem like, I'm going to take Mr. Maryland guy. I'm going to just not say his name anymore. And we have another pick as well here. So we have Zion Green. We have Jordan Page, which I guess is another Hall of Fame North Carolina State guy. So we'll bring him in. And I believe we have another good pick, Jeremiah Prophet, another guy. So this is turned out to be a good draft class so far. And we had more draft picks than I even anticipated. So Tyrone Jameson, maybe we take a swing on a 5. So I'll do that. Okay. And then I'll end it there. So number 1 overall, Mr. Maryland guy coming in. Well, we're not worried about the second round picks as much, but we'll go ahead and sign the rest of these guys. So player options, Dimon, Caleb Wilson, Seraph, Drake Powell, and Danny Wolf will all be accepted. And here's your qualifying offers. So there's nothing going on there. For free agency, we have nothing as far as bird rights are concerned. So, and then we have Walter Clayton just sitting here at an 84 overall that we could sign, which is kind of cool. But okay, so we have Maxey, we have Dimon, we have this guy, we have Ben Seraph, Jordan Prophet. Oh my gosh, we brought in a lot of guys. But the one thing I was going to tell you is that we have the ability to probably make a trade now because of how much salary we have. So there was an immediate guy that I was looking for at the trade deadline. I'm going to go look at him again, and that was going to be Mr. Trey Murphy. I think he would just fit extremely well on an expiring contract. Better overall than Neesmith, which is also something I'm looking at. So we need about $15 more million in this trade. I think at this point, Drake Powell could be traded, and then we need maybe Jordan Page, I guess, in here. This is probably an overpay, but we're trying to go in a championship next year. So we're going to just go ahead and make that move, and Trey Murphy is going to be our new starting 3. So I like that. And then Caleb Wilson's going to continue to develop. We'll move one of these guys probably to the 3 and move one of them to backup point guard. So we're in a good spot. So Trey Murphy's going to be the big addition. We have Caleb Wilson only going to develop more. We just brought in the number 1 overall pick. So this should be a team that I think can go win the East next year. Their proficiency goes up to a 4.5 balance, and this is what it's going to look like going into this season. So we also shrink the bench utilization down, and here's what we got. So we got Maxi, Yegor Dimon, Trey Murphy, Giannis, Caleb Wilson, our number 1 overall pick, Danny Wolf, Day'Ron Sharpe, and Ben Seraph. So that is going to be rotation. I like it a lot. I think this team could go win the whole thing, and that is going to be the hopeful goal here. So I will see you guys at the end of year number 4 or 5 at this point, and hopefully we end up being in the playoffs. We're off to a rocky start, but I assume that'll eventually turn around. So Cooper Flagg wins MVP again. McCoy Rookie of the Year. Giddy is your 6th man. Wimby's your depoy. Caleb Holt Most Improved. Jokic is your clutch player, and Carlisle back in Dallas is your Coach of the Year. Did he go win a championship with the Pacers and then come back to Dallas? That would be kind of interesting. Honestly, also makes sense, but here's your all-NBA second team. Giannis makes it, and no Maxi this time, unfortunately. So that's a little disappointing, but we end up as the 5th seed in the East. A little bit worse of a, I would say, record this year in the regular season, but all that matters is how good we are in the playoffs. So defensive rating, we were number 1. Offensive rating, looked like we were horrible. Why? We have Maxi and Giannis, and that's not good enough to have an offense. A little weird, a little disappointed by that, but one thing I'm also going to do is shrink this rotation down to 8 man in the playoffs. There probably is no need for both. Well, I guess they both have Danny Wolf and Sharpe playing. I don't think that's necessary. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take out Danny Wolf and just put in Day'Ron Sharpe to play, because Sharpe's usually a pretty good 2K sim player. And I know Danny Wolf probably is too, but all right. Milwaukee in round 1, which we took Giannis from them. So you'd like to hope that we don't lose to this team. They have Giddey and Kyrie Irving. Okay. And McBride. They're up 1-0. I mean, if we lose to the Bucks, that would be kind of crazy. So we lose both games to start things off. What is going on? We're down 3-1 to this team. Okay, so they did not look intimidating on paper at all, but man, this is not looking good right now. Can we come back from 3-1? I'm a little perplexed. I'm shocked that we lost to that team. That did not make any sense to me. Okay, so apparently this team is not good enough just yet. Well, the one thing we have going for us is obviously we know what development we're about to get. So that's a little crazy, but maybe another move is in order. So let's go ahead and keep this going. So let's go to the lottery, as we will get pick number. I saw our name there, but looks like we don't get a pick, I guess. Maybe it was protected from somebody. We get 21, and as long as I'm not arguing, we have 15 from the Knicks. I guess whatever we had was maybe protected. So staff signing, I mean, I'll keep Nick Nurse, obviously. On draft night, I do think we need to trade one of Danny Wolf or Sharpe away, though. I think it's time to, choose one or the other. So 15, 21, and 30. So let's go ahead and trade Sharpe 15 and 21, and let's see what that would get us. So I'm just looking for, so Okongwu is definitely interesting. I like that trade to start things off. Keegan Murray Connect is a good shooter off the bench, so I also like that a lot. And maybe just go with the Connect trade. So I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and snag Dalton Connect. We trade all of our picks, but at this point, we're all in, man. We're trying to go win a championship. We don't got time to waste. So Dalton Connect is gonna be our first edition, and we're not gonna be adding more rookies to this team. We have plenty of them. So, and now we have all of our free agents, obviously. So I do have interest in bringing all of them back, though. So yeah, Gordon Dimon, give him an offer. Danny Wolf, will give him an offer. He's gonna be our new backup 5 now. Maxi, definitely got to give him an offer, and Trey Murphy, got to give him an offer. We will. Maxi, where's someone offer? So that's good. We'll re-sign Trey Murphy as well, and this is basically gonna be ran back. So we're just gonna hope that things are different, and hope that the development we're about to see is gonna be good enough for this to be better, and I think it will be. So let's go to player progression, and let's see if the development is good enough. Our number 1 overall pick should jump up. Caleb Wilson maybe jumps up even a little bit more too. So I think we'll be in a good spot. So let's see. Player progression, Howard Warren's back, but you have, our number 1 overall pick now up to an 87 overall. He shot 36% last year, so I can only imagine he'll be even better this year. Caleb Wilson's now a 91 overall. So yeah, this is looking good. The spacing's looking good too. I'll have Connect probably move to the backup starting backup shooting guard spot, and I will see you guys at the end of next season, where I'm fully expecting a bounce back year. So we are in the playoffs once again, and I would have loved a better record once again, but we do end up as a second seed at 50-32, so can't be too upset with it. But let's go look at the player stats and see. So you had 20 from our first round pick, and then 20 from Giannis Antetokounmpo, 20 from Maxey, 17 from Caleb Wilson, along with 11 rebounds and 3 blocks. So looks like he's fully embraced that starting 5 role. So it's a spread scoring across the board, and I feel like we should be a very scary team going into this. Like, you would think that every single player on our team could give you 20 any given night, it feels like, which could be a positive, and you could look at it as a negative as well. But let's go look to see if our offensive rating was better this year, because last year was kind of pitiful, was not good. So let's go see. So offensive rating, still not top 5, but we are top 10, so that's better than last year. Defensively, we're number 6. So you'd have to hope things are better, but we get the Cavs, which we did beat them earlier. So hopefully, wow, we lose game 1. We do win game 2, though. We win game 3, and we win game 4. So that was a little bit of a, well, hold on. Game 7 is going to happen. So game 7, after just going up 3-1, is indeed going to happen in Brooklyn. Let's see if we're going to lose game 7. That would be really disappointing to go back-to-back losing in the first round after making it to the conference finals at the beginning of this. So looking good right now, and we hang on. 107-123. We get Atlanta in round 2 now. So Atlanta has Trae Young still, Bane, Ricochet. Man, I actually like the idea of Desmond Bane next to Trae Young. That's cool. But let's go see if we got what it takes to take them down. So game 1 is going to go to us. Game 2 goes to us as well. So far, so good. And we will beat the Hawks in 5, hopefully. Yes. Okay, so now we get Milwaukee, which Milwaukee is, you know, the team that beat us last year, which was kind of crazy. They have Kyrie Irving still, but Giddey was on their team last year. He's no longer there. So let's see if we can take down the Bucks this time. We're up 1-0. We're up 2-0. 2-1. Could we not let them tie it up? Yeah, there we go. Beat them in 5. Okay, we're in the finals, and we don't have to deal with Dallas either. But the Spurs are just as scary, or the Thunder. It might be the Thunder. It is the Thunder. So we get the Oklahoma City Thunder in the finals. Shea versus Giannis as your conference finals MVPs. So let's see if we could take down the Thunder, who have obviously had a championship already. So let's see if we can get one here. So game 1 goes up 106-100. Game 2, 2-0. Game 3, 3-0. And it looks like, well, not a sweep. Oh, hold on. Let's avoid a game 7, please. Let's not blow 3-0 lead in the finals. I would prefer not for that to happen. So it's a close game right now. Just got to hang on for game 6, and we will. So we're going to win game 6 and win a championship, as Caleb Wilson is your finals MVP. This roster ended up being really good at the end. I love what we were able to do to add to this team, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So that's a great way to end this video off. I will see y'all in the next one. This is Crushables. I'm saying peace.